Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm actually filming using my phone camera instead of my usual computer. I'm hoping that the camera quality is better using this format. So let me know if you prefer this quality. And as usual, I will start by introducing you to my personality themed merch store, where you can take a look at a link in the description box below. My friend helped me to design some personality-based merchandise that you can purchase to express your individuality. And today we are going to be touching on the ESFJ personality type because this is actually the highest voted video topic, along with the other one, which is on the INFP that I will be doing after this one. So ESFJs, actually, I have not talked about them a lot. I'll begin by briefly describing their cognitive functions, which is obviously the most important thing, in my opinion, of the MBTI system, because you can't really understand somebody based on their letters. It's surface understanding and it's very like drawing on stereotypes, whereas the functions really help you to know what motivates the personality type, the kind of preferences they have. So ESFJs lead with FE, which is a function that is called extroverted feeling, and it's concerned with feelings of others. Basically, they are going to be good at knowing what the other people are feeling around them, and they are able to gauge what the other person likes or dislikes, what their emotional needs are, and this usually translates to them being very concerned with the emotional atmosphere of a group that they are in, and they would want to influence that emotional atmosphere by being a very big part of that energy. And they are also very concerned with the social dynamics in a group setting. Their second function is introverted sensing, which is concerned about personal comfort. It's concerned about mainly the physical comfort. So it's very internal. It's drawing on the internal sensations as opposed to SE, which is drawing on the external sensations. ESFJs tend to prefer to pick and choose their experiences based on their own liking and stick to that. So instead of like the SE chaos where you are busy experiencing a lot of things, ESFJs prefer to pick a few experiences that they like. So they may have like comfort food, or they might have a few places they really like to go, and they would sort of go for that and prefer to stick to that. And that can also translate to, on a social level, they might want to stick to the status quo. FESI combination tend to value acting a certain way in a group. Is more socially acceptable. The tertiary function being NE. This is a tricky one because they do have NE and they can actually be quite good at NE, but ESFJs would need a bit more of a influence by other people. Like maybe if they have NTP friends or NNFP friends, they might be of help in this regard, because naturally ESFJs are not going to be super comfortable using NE. Once they get more exposure to NE, they are able to sort of let out that side of them. And usually when it's in the beginning stage, it's going to be a little on the superficial side because they're not very good with NE. So they might say things like, oh, I have like a quirky side to me. I don't know why, but that's like something that I heard a lot from ESFJs. Usually their quirky side is not very quirky, but because they are developing their NE, so they want to make you know then that they have like this more different side to them compared to like their usual, status quo self. But once they develop NE, they can become more creative and they can incorporate that in their own projects and sort of use that in conjunction with the other functions. And they can also be more interested in NE hobbies like reading and understanding about current affairs and so on. TI is their inferior function, which means that they want to be more TI like focused, but they are not very good at it. And because of desiring to be better at it but not being able to, come out in unexpected ways, like an TI outburst, like they may say something that is abrasive, but they are not able to curate it with the other functions. Like they are not able to have a full authentic expression of TI, so it comes out in like a little snide remark or something that is like they're trying to one up the other person in terms of logic, but it's not exactly the most used function. And also TI is very subjective, so it's about forming your own judgment. It's about understanding things and people from your own perspective, and that's what ESFJs struggle with, because any FE Dom, including ENFJs, they are going to be very easily influenced by the opinions of other people and the emotions of other people. So if, let's say, if they are in a group setting and there's like a dominant opinion about something, it's very hard for ESFJs to voice out a different opinion or to think of a different opinion, because they're just not that good at forming their independent logic. In this case, again, it really depends on their exposure to the function. I can be very fascinated with people who use TI, but initially they might not be able to understand how it's used, and so they might even be a little threatened by its presence. Okay, so now that we have the functions down, we can go into a bit more about what people understand and maybe not understand about ESFJs. So one thing that ESFJs are known for is that they are known for being very friendly to a group of people. Like they are known for like people who are very outgoing, like people who can make friends with everyone. I also noticed that at times they're prone to passive aggressive outbursts, and that's because like I mentioned before, they have a TI at the back, and TI is a function that is logical, that is focused on their own opinion. It's not so concerned about the opinions or feelings of other people. But because the ESFJ does not have a lot of TI, so when they do use it, it's not as well thought out as compared to like the TI dominant types. So it can come in a point of like a remark that might suddenly be a little jarring, and it's like the opposite of the FE harmony-based nature. And also another thing is that with their friendliness to people, some people may overinterpret their friendliness, and they may think that, oh, because this ESFJ talks to me and smiles at me every day, they have like a special attention towards me, and they want to be like, you know, something more than an acquaintance. In this case, it's not clear, because ESFJ's FE is a very natural part of who they are. So it's kind of like the ENFJ as well. Like just because an ENFJ is, you know, opening up to you and talking to you and being very friendly towards you, it doesn't mean that they actually see you as someone very important to them or someone that they really value in their lives, because they are just that way towards most people. In fact, FE is a default function for them. So they are naturally going to be like that towards everyone. It's not that they're trying to be this way because they have a certain motive. It just is how they are. So I think people have to recognize that about them. And it's very different, of course, if you have someone who doesn't use FE, like for example an INTJ. If they are very friendly towards you and suddenly they are talking to you a lot, that might mean that they are interested in you beyond the acquaintance level. Second part is ESFJs are known for being this like very positive personality, or at least they present themselves as being very optimistic. Like the stereotypical like live, laugh, love is sort of an ESFJ phrase, and they like to portray themselves as being like very sunny, like very bright and cheerful all the time. Based on my personal experience with them, I realized that what I initially thought that they were just being very optimistic, it's actually because they are trying to have this really good emotional atmosphere. So whether they are really feeling happy or not, it's actually not something that you can know. If you're an outsider, let's say, if you're not a person in their own social circle, like if you're not in part of their main social circle, you actually don't know much about what is going on in their life. Because unlike the FI types, they tend to be very honest about how they feel, because they are very in touch with how they themselves feel. But with ESFJs, they're more focused on the other people, like how they can influence other people's emotions. So they don't want to be like seen as a Debbie Downer. They don't want to be seen as a wet blanket. So even when they may not be feeling great, they might sometimes hide it from other people. They might make it less obvious. So you never really know what they're going through. So, for example, I actually knew of somebody who seemed to be having a very happy marriage. Like, she's always, making it sound like she had a perfect marriage, and her social media obviously was like picture perfect stuff. And it's only because I know her personally, and I knew like who her husband was, that I knew how much trouble the marriage was actually on. Like, there was like a lawsuit, and there was also like cheating, like rampant cheating in a relationship. But as an outsider, you would never know any of this happened, because she just presents herself as being so happy. They are not going to post about their depression. It's very unlikely. And I think sometimes that can be a little tiring, because I use FE as well, and I know that sometimes I don't want people to know what I'm going through. And for FI types, it's the opposite. They are very transparent. They are quite transparent, I would say, relatively to what they're going through. And I think that sometimes that type of vulnerability is actually helpful. So it might be exhausting for ESFJs to have to do that all the time, to show people that they are happy. And another reason is because they have a concern for their social status. So with the FESI combination, ESFJs are very concerned how the general public sees them, and they tend to prefer having an image that is more socially acceptable. So this can translate to them appearing happy when they're not, and it can also translate to a form of judgment of other people. And this, obviously, again, it's only for ESFJs who probably don't have a lot of experiences with their NETI side, and they are more like on the immature side. Then they would be more prone to making judgments of other people who are not able to fit into that FESI framework. People mention that ESFJs and their behavior in school, they tend to be the ones who are, very high energy, and because of their preference for the status quo, they might see people who are not so high energy or not as willing to participate in the same kind of activities and the same kind of social life as people who are very annoying, or people who are just wrong because they're not able to do something that's socially acceptable. That actually changes through time, because I realized that as ESFJs grow older, they have a bit more understanding and even appreciation for the introverted types, because introverts do have something that they don't have, and they are able to see value in that, but it might take them a while. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to be touching on this personality type's common strengths and weaknesses. The strength is definitely providing physical comfort, because they have the FE, which is the emotional comfort, and SI is focused on the physical comfort part. So ESFJs would be very inclined to provide comfort in terms of like food, in terms of cleaning the house, in terms of making the environment very pleasant for you. So maybe a nice interior design, and like giving you comfort when you are not feeling well. They're really good at it, which also explains why a lot of them move into the nursing industry. Not every ESFJ is going to be in a nurse, but They can also be a comedian because they like to make people laugh, they like to engage people, they can also be an entertainer for the same reason, and they are very talented in making people feel energized in a group because their energy is very infectious. They tend to have a lot of friends in real life, so it's because they are very confident in the social environment. Something that can be pretty inspiring, I think, to a lot of people who are more on the introverted side. In terms of weakness, as previously mentioned, the NETI side, basically, if they are not very developed in that regard, they are going to have problems forming their own opinions of others, and they might rely too much on the social consensus that can be exclusive to some people, and they might be overly reliant on the social validation and kind of lose their own identity and what matters to them. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Bye!